Thanks for coming, everyone. We have a presentation by our very own Michelle this morning on invasive species. So we're going to get started. But she's leaving, so party.
It's great seeing you, Michelle.
Oh, she's got something interactive.
It's wet, so I put them in a box.
Oh, okay.
Here's some.
What is it?
I'll tell you what they are. Hello, everybody. Hi. I'm going to talk about invasive species identification. I'm going to mainly go over the basic ones you might find in Cayuga County. Oh, there we go. So a quick definition, an invasive species is one that is non-native to the ecosystem under consideration and whose introduction causes or is likely to cause economic or environmental harm or harm to human health. So here are some of the characteristics of invasive species. Carrie's coming on in a minute, so we'll have quorum.
Okay, then we'll start.
Okay, they can survive in harsh conditions. They may not have any natural enemies in the new ecosystem. They tend to be quick growing. They can outcompete native species for habitat and for food. They tend to have a high rate of reproduction. They can have little or no nutritional value to the wildlife. They reduce or degrade habitat or food for native species. They can be a significant threat to biodiversity. And they're a leading source of environmental and economic damage. So how are they introduced and spread? They can come in as landscaping plants. Purple loosestrife is an example of that. Food crops, the pet and aquarium trade, ballast water, or they could just be hitchhikers on your clothing. You can move them from one place to another. So when we start to manage invasive species, we want to start at the beginning. We want to prevent the things from getting here before they get here. It's the cheapest and easiest way. So we do education and preventative measures like cleaning your boats. And then we look for early detection and rapid response if we can get the species before they have a chance to establish themselves. We can get rid of them. Weed watching, which is looking for these species, and rapid treatment at first sign of introduction. And then there's the management of established invaders by mechanical or physical means, like weed harvesting, chemical, like with herbicides, or biological when you bring in an insect that eats like the hemlock woolly adelgid. So some invasive aquatic plants, curly leaf pondweed or curly pondweed, there's one in that box there. It's there's two in that one bag.
Can I take it out?
Sure. And feel free to come and look at it if you want to look at it while I'm talking about it. It's native to Eurasia, Africa, and Australia. It's found throughout New York State and all the Finger Lakes. And this is a plant that roots in the bottom, and it spreads through fragmentation, rhizomes, which are like, strawberry plants, how they these little rhizomes and plants appear. And the turons, which are winter buds. So this is one of the first plants to emerge in the spring, and it can grow under the ice. And it goes dormant in July and August, so you'll start seeing it washing up around that time of the year on the shore. The stems are 1 to 3 feet long, look like spaghetti. And I say the leaves look like lasagna noodles. They're all wavy. They have finely toothed, oblong in shape, typically 3 inches long. And the spring leaves are wider and less wavy than the winter leaves. Eurasian water milfoil is probably one you've heard of before. It's in all the Finger Lakes. It also roots on the bottom and can form dense mats at the surface. It can grow up to 20 feet long. It can have small reddish flowers raised above the water on a spike that blooms from July to August. And this one reproduces from plant fragments. So the leaves look like feathers. There's 14 to 20 pairs on each one. They kind of fall limp when you pull them out of the water. They're green or reddish brown to purple, branching stems, and the shoots near the surface are reddish brown.
They're very soft.
Water chestnut, that's also in there.
I'm just gonna leave this on the bed.
As you can see, the spiky seed is on the bottom of that.
There's a seed on it. Oh, yeah.
This is found in Cayuga Lake in the Cayuga Marsh area, Cross Lake, Seneca River, Erie Canal, Cayuga Seneca Canal, Sterling Creek, Montezuma Wildlife Refuge, Little Sodas Bay, the pond, 9 Mile Creek, and Lake Ontario. This is an annual. It produces up to 20 of those 4-pointed nutlets you can see in the bag there and on the screen. Each seed can produce 10 to 15 rosettes. So each one of these is considered a rosette. So they form these really, really dense mats that you can't really get through, and they can be about 15 feet long. So the leaves are diamond-shaped with toothed edges. The tops are shiny and dull with fine hairs underneath. They're alternately arranged. They have these hollow, air-filled stems, allows them to float on the surface. Their submerged leaves are kind of feather-like and opposite arranged, and they can have small white flowers that bloom June through September. And now we have hydrilla, which was first found in the Cayuga Lake Inlet in 2011 near the Ithaca Farmers Market. In Cayuga County, it's been found off of Aurora and Don's Marina and King Ferry. It's one of the world's most invasive plants. It's submerged and rooted. It can grow quickly up to a foot a day and up to 30 feet long. And it forms really dense mats. So the leaves are about 5/8 of an inch long, and most have 5 leaves in a whorl around the stem. And one of the most identifying characteristics is the tuber on the bottom. Looks like a small potato, and that's how they survive through the winter. They also have turons, which are overwintering buds that they can grow from. But the main source of propagation seems to be the tubers. Small fragments can sprout roots and form new populations. This is one that's becoming more of an issue in this area. European common frogbit. It's in Cayuga Lake, Seneca River, Little Sodas Bay, Sterling Creek, the pond, Howland Island, and Montezuma Wildlife Refuge. This is a free-floating plant. They call it the Valentine plant because it has a heart-shaped leaves that are purplish red underneath. This is also an annual. It reproduces by stolons, runners, which produce daughter buds, or by turons that grow into new plants. They're pretty small. The leaves are 1/2 inch to 2 1/4 inches in length and width, and they have a really pretty little white flower on them. And they spread rapidly by water, birds, boats, and humans. We're going to go into an algae. Starry stonewort is a macroalgae that's found in all the Finger Lakes, also in Duck Lake, Lake Como, Seneca River, the pond, Little Sodas Bay, and Lake Ontario. It's a rooted plant-like algae, and it can form dense pillows of vegetation. So they're anchored by these colorless filaments, and they contain several dozen 4 to 5 millimeter star-shaped bulbils. Those are those little white things. And that's what they reproduce from. Because all of the ones in the United States are male. Or they can also reproduce by fragments that break off. And sometimes they're found in deep, slow-moving water where other plants are scarce. And then we have mollusks. Zebra and quagga mussels are filter feeders. Zebra mussels prefer hard surfaces, but quagga mussels can live on the soft bottom. They can both get to up 1.5 inches long, and you tell them apart by zebra mussels. You can put them up on their side, and they'll stand up. Quagga mussels fall over. And then we have Asian clams. They were found in Owasco Lake, possibly Cayuga Lake and the Owasco outlet. The one I saw online in Cayuga Lake was dead, so they didn't find a live one, so I haven't heard anything about it in a couple of years, so hopefully they don't have it. They can get to about 2 inches in size, live 3 to 4 years, and they're filter feeders. They're mainly in Emerson Park area because they like sandy soils. And they're a really yellow-green, but they turn this kind of brownish color, or blackish color when they're dead. We have insects, emerald ash borer. You've probably heard of that. Most of our ash trees are dead due to this. All native ash trees are susceptible, and they die in 2 to 4 years after infestation. So it's this little bug, 3/8 of an inch to 5/8 of an inch long, and they're this metallic green. And they have a coppery red or purple abdomen. They leave distinctive D-shaped exit holes in the outer bark of the branches and the trunk, and you see them mostly in June and July. So here's some of the symptoms of the tree. You'll see a lot of woodpecker activity. The canopy will thin. You get these epicormic shoots on the bottom of the tree because they can't get the nutrients up anymore. The bark starts to split, and the reason the tree dies is the larval feeding the galleries, those S-shaped feeding galleries. Hemlock woolly adelgid attacks eastern and Carolina hemlocks throughout the Finger Lakes. It can cause death within 4 to 10 years once it's infested. They're very, very tiny, 1/16 of an inch long. They're dark, reddish brown and purple black in color. We look for them in the winter because they form these little white coverings, and that's how you identify them in the winter. And you can protect your trees with insecticides. Spotted lanternfly was first found in New York State in 2018. The closest population is in Ithaca, just off the Cornell campus. But it's also been found in Broome County, Buffalo, Rochester, and a lot of downstate. It's a significant threat to agriculture and forest health. They like grapes, apples, hops, maples, walnuts, sumac, oaks, and pines. They prefer tree of heaven, which is another invasive species, and they can excrete what's called honeydew, which is this sticky substance which can lead to sooty molds. And this is what it looks like. It's a pretty bug. They're black and white when they're nymphs, and then they turn red when they go into adults. And the adults appear in July. They're about 1 inch long and 1/2 inch wide. So if you're looking for spotted lanternfly, you can look for these egg masses, which is shown in the picture there. They're 1 inch long, brownish gray, waxy, and mud-like when new, and then they get brown and scaly. You can look for sap oozing or weeping from tiny open wounds on tree trunks, which appear wet and may give off fermented odors, or a massive honeydew buildup under plants, sometimes with black sooty mold.
If you find it, do you take it off, wipe it off, kill it?
Yes.
Okay. That sounds disgusting.
And let some
Let someone know.
yeah, probably Cornell
DEC.
or DEC.
Invasive species program.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you find the adult, kill it and keep it and take a picture of it.
They are pretty.
I had one. I was going to bring it, but I can't get in my office. I got it in Pennsylvania last year.
Okay. Good, it wasn't here.
It was hard to I was so nervous coming back
Yeah.
with it. I was afraid my camper was going to have.
Transporting invasive species. It's a felony.
This is a tree of heaven. They like to live in urban areas. They tolerate poor soils. They're the preferred host of spotted lanternfly. It can be mistaken for sumac. They have alternate leaf arrangements and pinnately compound leaves. And the glandular dot on the base of the leaf, which is like right here, is one of the ways you can tell the difference. And they had these little teeth on the base. The flowers, top picture, they're hard to see. Male and female are on separate trees. Seeds are like winged, like maple seeds. Right at end of summer, and the bark is smooth. And to end this, I also like people to be aware of giant hogweed and wild parsnip. Those are two species that can cause rashes in humans if you get exposed to the sap. That's my presentation. Any questions?
Michelle, will the presentation be available online?
Yeah.
You wanted to share?
Yeah, I can do it.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yep.
In Summer Hill Forest, they've been spraying like crazy for the past couple of weeks. DEC, what are they spraying? Is that for the emerald ash borer?
I'd have to let me know where it is, and I could try to ask the right person.
They've had a crew there for the past couple of weeks spraying something.
Where was it again? Sorry.
Summer Hill Forest.
Yeah, I could reach out to Limited Forest or give you their contact. I'm in the Division of Water, so I don't know much about that side.
Are the permits readily available online that are issued for the insecticides and the herbicides and stuff?
Good question. I think it would depend on the program,
Okay.
but I can make a note to reach out to Lands and Forests on the summer
Okay.
help treatments.
I was wondering if it's hemlock woolly adelgid, maybe. Well, no. Would that be
Oh, it's aerial spraying?
No, it's the guys with backpack then.
Oh,
That's different. You know, can you spray for emerald ash? I thought it was some kind of injection into the tree. You know?
I think it is an injection. I know with hemlock woolly adelgid, it can like be you spray the bark.
I asked that question with the fella that does our HWA treatments, and also on a hike we did with, I don't know if it was DEC, on water at Bear Swamp Forest, to identify. You can use a similar treatment like the imidacloprid drench. They do like a safari and the whatever, the other one, they spray or inject for the HWA. In the imidacloprid drench or spray, you can do on the ash, but they said you better pick out one tree you like because you have to do it every year.
Oh.
And with the HWA, depending on the treatment, it can go, a number of years. But they said it can be done, but you really have to hit it hard and every year do it.
Yeah, I've heard it's very expensive too.
Yes. It is if you haven't, if there's guidance from Cornell on how to do your own at the right time of year with the chemicals you can apply and drench or spray. But there are chemicals that only the licensed pesticide applicator can get, and that's very expensive. But there is, if you even look at the label on some of the tree stuff, that with the different percentages of the imidacloprid, and different states allow different percentages. New York is less. If emerald ash borer is listed as one of the pests, it will help control, but according to the DEC or the county, whoever we went with on that hike through Bear Swamp, they said you really have to attack it every year. So if you had a tree next to your house, you wanted to save, if it wasn't too far gone, you could try that and kind of hope for the best.
So tree by tree, huh?
Pretty much, yeah. That's what they told me. Because every tree next to mine, I live in the woods, is the hemlock. The ashes are all,
Yeah, ours aren't dead yet. Clearly they will be.
yeah. It's been sad to watch it.
I had two. The first was on the giant hogweed. Are there any known locations within Cayuga County for us to be aware of?
A lot of it's up north, like Sterling area.
Okay.
I know there was some in, I haven't looked lately because the DEC does have a treatment program.
Once it's removed, right, isn't there a chance of it being there, the seeds could stay and germinate like for 5
There's like
years or so?
hundred thousands of seeds, and because they're like incredible amounts of
It's
seeds.
such, to me, it's something you really, as you say, be preventive and, to be checking that. That's such a nasty thing.
And I know the DEC's been working on eradicating it in certain areas.
Good, good. It's kind of good to know, if it is in your area, but if it's not wrong. The other,
It has been found in the Owaska Lake watershed, though.
I know, and that's why I was wondering, because I think it was within the town of Scipio, because I have posters up and I put things in newsletters about it to identify it.
There
And
was
then I
a,
heard that the seed, that plant could have been eradicated and you take so much around the base of it and remove it, but there could have been a seed, as you say, that's scattered and it could germinate even years after. So
Yeah.
that to me was, I'd never heard of such a tenacious thing, but it's serious to keep control of. The other comment was, I wanted to share, I just learned it last night from the State Hemlock Lily Adelgid initiative there at Cornell. They are looking for resistant hemlocks. If any of you, when you're out and about, have seen hemlock that have been impacted by Lily Adelgid but have survived, they are looking at resistant trees to begin to do some genetic testing or modification of, or something. So please, if you keep it in mind, it has to be an area that has not been treated, but have survived from having that hemlock Lily Adelgid. Just wanted to share that.
and I know there's a researcher also looking for resistant ash trees.
Yes, yes.
There's one in Baltimore Woods.
Good to know.
We'll have to let them know.
Good to know the ash tree. All
And
mine.
how do you know if they're resistant?
They're
Just
not
they're
dead.
still alive?
They're still alive.
Yeah.
I think it's still in.
And ones around it are dead, but yeah. I have 0 resistant trees on my property,
Yes.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that's kind of the way, but if you do.
But you have to wait several years, right?
2 to
Just want
4.
to keep looking and surveying, just watching. But if you do, they want to know.
Yes. Look, you know, something.
That was it, and so thank you. And that was a very good presentation.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Michelle? Okay. All right, we have quorum
We
now,
have
right,
quorum
Carrie?
now,
So we'll go into the voting items. Does anyone have any comments on the minutes that were sent out from last meeting? I'll entertain a motion to approve. Okay, and then Doug second?
Sure.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Aye.
Oh, thanks, Carrie. We kind of skipped over announcements. Does anyone have any announcements? Great. Working groups, communications. Dan isn't here. Anyone else from communications, or you are de facto?
I was gonna say Adam's here.
Oh,
Adam's doing the newsletter for next
Oh,
month,
good.
or this month.
you're doing the newsletter?
Yes, I am.
When are articles due to you by?
Whenever you get them to me. It's
Well,
really no-
I need a hard deadline so I can spend the night before writing my article.
I might have jury duty
I work best under pressure.
the last week of June, so we need to get it done early.
Okay, all right, so let's say,
2 weeks from now, the 14th.
Sure, perfect.
That's less than 2 weeks from now.
Oh, yeah.
That's a week from tomorrow.
How about the 19th?
Perfect. Thank you.
But then I'll know if I have jury duty or not.
I recently got a questionnaire for federal court, and it makes me nervous.
Well, I postponed mine because they wanted me to do it during the eclipse.
Oh.
So now I'm afraid I'm really gonna have to go,
Yeah, probably. Just do it and get it over with.
because I wouldn't have had to if I had not postponed it.
Yeah. All right, for communications and outreach, we got a request for a letter of support for a City of Auburn water project. And I know the deadline for this grant is next Friday. So, I mean, I guess is it up to, can we just talk about it and without Dan? Or,
Sure.
because he's the chair of the committee, right?
Well, letter of support would be just administration,
Would it?
not a working group thing.
Oh, okay, I thought because of the issues last time with the Finger Lakes FLX.
I know we wanted it earlier, but
Yeah.
we just got it this morning.
If any of your organizations would like a letter of support from the Water Quality Management Agency, I think we had decided that we needed it 2 or 3 weeks in advance. However, the grant deadline is next Friday and a letter was provided and all we have to do is fill in the agency's name and have me sign it. So can I take a motion to accept this letter of support? Do you guys want more information on it?
Well, what's the grant?
It's a WIA grant. And let's see. I got a lot of emails this morning.
I was gonna say, I think I have mine up
Here
if
we
you.
go. It's for the replacement of the raw water transmission line. So it's the line that runs from the pump station at the lake to the water treatment plant. It's old and they'd like a new one.
Yeah, I'll move that we approve, support it.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Anne. Any further discussion on it?
As a city of Auburn.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
I do have 2 announcements. We did 2 blogs last month.
Oh, yeah.
One was by Aaron McKeon on the Skaneateles 9-element plan, and I wrote one about invasive species week. And I also had an eco talk last week about invasive species week, which is this week.
Great. Any more blog posts anyone comes up with? It's a good time of year with all activities going on in the lakes and stuff. Maybe someone else can put one together for treatments on any of the smaller lakes in the county, just to provide visibility to those projects. Okay, back to communications. Anything to add? Communications? No? Okay. Sounds good. How about invasive species? I think we're all good, right?
Yeah, it's invasive species awareness week. I think I sent out an email with the link to all the activities that were going on.
Mhm. Okay, great.
And that's kind of why I gave this presentation.
Yes. Appropriate timing. All right, nutrient and sediment. Seth isn't here, he's out sick, but we'll be meeting briefly after this meeting to discuss progress on the nutrient and sediment working group actions and priorities. So more to come, hopefully. Agency reports from environmental health. We have received quite a few septic replacement grant applications, which is nice, and we have a whole bunch of people going through with projects on Owasco Lake especially. We're working through the transition. This is Cayuga Lake related with Walls College and what's going to happen with their water treatment plant that provides water to the village of Aurora. And we are working down with SUNY Stony Brook Center for Clean Water, is that what it's called?
Yep.
With a professor and a research student there to install those test wells in between the waterfront and the septic systems. And then on one other area of the property, right, that wouldn't be impacted by the septic to compare sampling results, or are they just doing the one well?
I think that, I know what first well they did the other day, day before yesterday, they put a well down below the septic system and put one a control well
Yeah.
above it.
Yep,
And,
so they can
so
compare
they
the
can
results.
compare.
Yeah,
And they're gonna do one of my help, but they're only 3 houses away, so we said.
Okay, might as well.
Might as well,
Yeah.
help us doing the second well, because it'll be the same results, because
Mm-hmm.
we're close enough together.
yeah, so this should give us a glimpse in, based on different soil types and stuff, what impacts there may be to the water body from
Yeah.
septic systems. And these are all at places where, I think it's a variety of different places or different style septic systems at each house,
Yeah,
right?
there's, I think they identified like 5, well, there's 6 houses all together they identified. And I think they're going to do 5 of them.
I think someone's got a dry well, you've got
Yeah.
an ETU and
I got
a,
a newer one.
a newer
They're
one
not
with
gonna do mine till
Elgin's and-
2 weeks, but there, there's one guy that's got a real old system. I'm sure they're gonna get very positive results from that one.
yeah, or negative.
Or
depending on
negative.
how you look at
Negative, yeah, they're gonna see something.
Yeah,
I'm hoping when they do mine, I have
See
enough
nothing.
system, they'll see nothing.
Yeah.
Because that's what that's what the health department guy told me. when they put it in.
yeah, well, he's not from the health department, so say Stewart from Stony Brook told you, because I have no idea what's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah, but apparently what Stuart was telling me the other day is that, they put these wells down, and I was surprised the wells are about this big around. They go down about 20 feet. Then they put the one I saw, my neighbors, they put 3 or 4 different like 1-inch PVC pipes down at different depths.
Mhm.
So they can, what they do essentially is they take out, I guess the bottom part of it is, all part of the pipe is perforated, so the water will come in. And they got it filled in, and they got these 1-inch pipes down through there, and they put a plastic hose down, and they siphon the water out, and they take a water sample.
And this is all done automatically, it's via an auto sampler, so
Yeah.
it doesn't require anyone to be there, though someone needs to go collect the bottles and then send them down to Stony Brook, so we have someone from our office helping with that.
Yeah, so they're gonna collect the samples, and then monitor that for, I guess, a year or 2.
Yeah, that's the
And
plan.
Then if they find the systems, I understand, but if they find some that phosphorus is going through, then they've got some kind of device that they want to put between the septic system and the leach field, I think,
Or the water body,
or the water body, but,
to collect the
to
phosphorus.
collect the phosphorus, before, because when he was showing on my property, he said, well, because I have 2 tanks, my leach field is higher than my tanks, so I have a pump in there, so he's got to talk to an engineer and figure out how to where to put this device, because you can't put it after the pump because it's pressurized, so they're gonna have to do some figuring out how
I'll
to do
figure
it.
it out.
They'll figure it out, but they're gonna put some other device in there that supposedly will collect the phosphorus before it goes out of the tanks and into the leach field.
Yeah.
And
Okay, and then back to Cayuga Lake real quick. First confirmed HAB last Thursday, I believe it was. I'd have to look back and see. It was by Seneca Falls, I think. So that's unfortunate. The season is upon us, and we're working with the city of Auburn and CSI to do to get our HAB sampling plan in place for Owasco Lake for this summer. So that's all from me. Anyone want to give a parks update? No? Okay, planning?
Did you want me to do it,
Yep,
Karen?
sorry, bear with me. We got a little delay from home. This will be quick. As everyone knows, the county office building is closed and we're all working remote. So staff is still moving forward with all of their projects as best they're able. Michelle's still doing all her great work. We will be taking requests and helping our communities and partner agencies as best we can. We do not have access to the building whatsoever, which means we can't do maps or any of those great things. So when we do get access, we'll let everyone know. But we're still pushing forward with everything. We are looking forward to being up to full staff sometime soon as well. Anything else, Michelle will fill you in.
Okay. I had a meeting with some ESF professors, the Owasco Lake Watershed Association, Health Department, and the Owasco Lake Watershed Management Council to discuss looking at our data taken through the Owl Tributary Program for the last few years. And they're interested, they're taking a look at it. I also sent the same set of data to the Finger Lakes Institute to put on their database. And I'm working with Nick Colas to update the SWOT model and use it to look at best management practices this summer. And our quality assurance project plan was approved, so we're moving forward with that.
Thanks, Michelle. Soil and water, Doug?
All right, good morning, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody that purchased trees or fish from our recent sales. It went pretty well. 250 people or so stopped by to a lot of trees, a lot of shrubs went out the door. Got some bad news though. I think the fish supplier is no longer going to be in business, so hopefully you got your pond stocked up this year. And we'll keep looking out for some new ones, but to see who might be available to provide us with the fish, but we'll see where that program goes. But thank you to everybody that did purchase it another year, make it successful. It's a busy season for us. We're wrapping up some road ditches and stream projects because if we're already getting halves, I mean, that already seems pretty early, but I've been seeing pictures from Owasco Lake, Little Sodas, and everywhere else about the weeds in the water, and they're ahead of schedule as well this year. I don't know if it's the lack of ice and warmer water and clear water actually, and all of that's kicking in this year and lower water levels, and the weeds are at the surface and seem to be in mid-season form already on June 6th. So we are gearing up, but we have a schedule of other projects that we work on, and we usually anticipate not hitting the water till the end of June, but we will be hitting Little Sodas. Our target is the week of the 24th. So we rotate from different lakes. They're all bad at the same time, so we try to make it fair to everybody and not just always hit, say, Owasco or Cayuga or Little Sodas first. So we try and share that so that everybody gets a little opportunity to get some early voting in. With clean with the weeds. So it's about to get really busy for us. We're going to put all hands on deck pretty much. We have one person out there doing some of our regular road ditch type of work, and we'll try and bring some people on. Hydroseeder's been busy doing some of the county ditches and some of the ditches for the towns. So we got that one out. I'm surprised they haven't rolled back up to get another load today yet, but Hydroseeder's been out and about, which is good. And then Tire Day is Saturday. We're partnering with Cornell Cooperative Extension and the Planning Department and Nucor to do Tire Day. It's a little different. Nucor has some restrictions on the amount of tires that they can take, so we contracted with a company out of Auburn to take some of the tires. So it's going to be a little more costly this year to do it, but maximum 40 tires. We're trying to ask for county residents only to attend the event, especially if it's coming out of our budget. And it runs from 8 to 11. No appointment needed, but feel free to swing by. There's a limit of 36-inch tires, but rimless tires doesn't matter. We'll take them off.
And it's free to residents?
No, it's not free. There's a charge of, depends on where you look. I think there was an error on the website possibly, but we're targeting on the flyer $2 for small passenger, truck, like smaller truck and passenger car tires, and $5 for larger tires. So.
And I'm sorry, Doug, what's the date?
That's Saturday the 8th. Yeah, this Saturday.
8 to 11?
8 to 11. Yes, sir.
We'll stop by the house and hope we can get in.
Right. So some people have been calling. It's usually a pretty popular event. Every year we get, if you guys haven't seen it, we get anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 tires. And that's down from the early years when we were getting 10 to 12,000 tires and this parking lot being full. So there's still a need out there, so we felt it was important to shift some funding around and keep it rolling. That's what we're doing. It's been a good last year. Was what, Bruce? 20th year last year, and it's the 21st year.
Yeah.
So Bruce was a big instrumental in a lot of the early ones.
Do you guys send the information out to the towns? Because I know it's against code in a lot of the towns, if not all of the towns, to have tires just rotting away in your yard. And I go to many a house with that violation, and it'd be great to pass that information along.
Yeah, it does get advertised around.
Okay.
And I know we work with the town highways too, because they
Okay.
collect a lot from the roadsides. And instead of having them just pile up in their yard, what do we do with them? We try to work with them. So we'll be sending some down to Newport, because they use it in their steel making process, and then we'll send some to this other company.
Okay.
So we're gonna, it's an interesting year. I call it like a hybrid year. We've always sent them all to Newport, they've taken them all and recycled them, and it's been great. But this year we have to think outside the box a bit.
Is this on your website?
Should be on our website, should be on planning's website, probably, your,
I have a couple flyers, I think
Oh,
I
good.
need one.
flyers.
Oh.
Perfect.
You just do it once a year?
Just do it once a year, yeah, it's pretty involved. Figured this is a good time of year, get it before the mosquitoes start breeding and people are cleaning out, in the spring clean out. And then it's grant writing season as well, so on top of construction season, the climate resilient farming grants are out, so we're trying to write those. That's a deadline of the 24th, so everybody's been pretty busy with that. And a lot of funding in the state budget. And then lastly, I didn't like to give it out beforehand because you guys might start looking through it, but we've had these for a couple months. I keep forgetting to bring them out, but I finally remembered today. So here's our annual report for the Conservation District for the work we did in 2023. I'll send them around each side. If you don't have enough, I'll put some out the back here. If you want some for your organizations to share, whether it's through the different lake associations, you want to bring them and share them with your members, let me know. I'd rather have them go out to the groups than to sit in a box in my office. So
I'll take a handful for my office.
exactly, I'll leave them back here, and feel free to help yourself and grab them. And if you feel you need more, or there wasn't enough, be glad to get them. With that, I'll take any questions that you have.
Joe, do you have a digital version of the recycling flyer?
There should be one on.
Well, I was just, I circulated with our listeners.
So the pamphlet, the flyer for the tire event isn't on your guys' website.
And Doug, I was wondering, will you have both weed harvesters out working this summer?
We sure will be.
It was a
You
great
know,
sight,
hopefully.
I'll tell you, come into your parking lot today.
That's the plan. Is
Good.
to have them both out there.
Okay,
Yeah, we're getting them all geared up and tested out.
now will they work the same water body together?
That's what we're still trying to figure out. That's gonna be a learning curve, because we haven't had two large boats. That was our original plan, is to do that, is try and roll through them that much faster, and get to the next one that much faster. We'll see. It's been a while since we've had two boats running. With two boats, because if we split them, we'd need a boat operator, a truck driver, and one water body. We'd need a tip transporter, a boat operator, and a truck driver. So we need 5 people versus if we did it all, I think we'd be 5 or 4 people. So, yeah, well, it's going to be a learning curve this year.
I'm glad you did.
But that's what we're going to try. Shoot for.
Doug, I'm sorry to get back to this. Do you know where I can find the tire, or Bruce, the tire recycling flyer? Because we could also post it on our,
I could say, I'll send it to the group.
yeah, if you don't mind.
Debbie Foster, she sent it.
Yeah, because I can't find it on your website or Cornell Cayuga's website.
Okay.
So,
Do you try planning?
or planning's website.
Hey, Evan, is it anywhere?
Yeah, it's on our website.
Oh, okay. Evan, can you put a link in the chat, please?
Yep.
And then you can go straight away into your,
Emily just wanted to know if your report's online.
The annual report, yes, should be a link to in our website.
Okay.
Under annual reports, for our last, however many are there, actually.
So the only thing I was going to talk about was the tire event, but Doug kind of covered it, so I really have nothing else.
okay. Thanks, Evan.
Yep.
Cornell Cooperative, you have anything?
Sure. Our new office operator started last week. So that should help things run a little bit smoother at our office. Our master gardeners are back, so if anyone has questions, call in and they're happy to help you out. A lot of planning for our youth fair, which is going to be August 1st through the 3rd. We had a lot of success last year, and our numbers are going up and up, which is great. A lot more work, but we're very excited for it. The Manure Expo, the show guide should be finalized, so if you go on the website and anything interests you, that's, what you see there is what the event's going to be, and that event is July 17 and 18. We're working on getting some grants through SARE. And we're hosting a giant pumpkin growing contest. You can register on our website. It's $10 for anyone, or $5 if you're part of 4-H. You have to be 18 and under, and we will supply the seeds if you register. So if you know any kids or youth that might be interested in it, please spread the word. Seeds got to get in the ground pretty soon if you want to compete. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
What's the scope of the youth fair?
I haven't been much involved with it, but I am now. So the big thing we're doing is the market auction. Last year we had, I think, 10 animals. This year we have over 30. Kids are going to show animals, and you have to participate in your county youth fair to go on to the state fair. So their kids will be showing animals. We'll have judges there, and this will help kids go to state fair. And there will be a bunch of other stuff going on. Should be a good time. It was a great turnout last year, and we're expecting a much bigger turnout this year.
Thanks, Frank. City of Auburn or Town of Owasco? Anyone have anything for that? Okay. Cayuga Lake report?
Yeah, so we mentioned that the first half is reported on Seneca County, the northern end of the lake. And I think it was June 3rd, right? That's my memory. And I don't think I wrote down the date. I did write down the date, so it's June 3rd is the first report, which is seems very early to me. But I am remiss, I didn't check to confirm it's early. But
It is early. I did look. The next earliest one was like June 22nd or June 25th several years ago.
It's incredibly early. So we'll hope that that's just some kind of an anomaly, that there are no hams to be had in the Moscow area. That's the hope. So
Cayuga generally starts a bit before Owasco anyways, so.
It's a little early for Cayuga as well.
Yes, it is,
But
yeah, several weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
I started mowing my lawn April 1st this year.
Yeah.
Which is very early.
Mhm.
We're way ahead of schedule.
So the CSI is having a head herringer training at Wells on June 13th. I think that's been circulated on the listserv here. In relation to that, we'll mention that because I'll also do the report for the Cayuga Lake Watershed Network, but I should mention because Wells comes up. Of course, Wells is closing, which is going to be a blow in a lot of ways, but that's where the Cayuga Lake Watershed Network's office is located. They've provided free office space for a number of years. So the network is relocating. We're talking with a number of people about where to go. So we'll have more on that. That looks very, people have been very responsive, so that looks positive. But we won't have an announcement of final location for at least a few weeks. The hydrilla work is scheduled, and I think there's leave that to the PRISM DEC for details. But the works for hydrilla on Cayuga is going to be done in Ithaca, Aurora, Sheldrake Point, and Lansing in the Concord County. And I think the PRISM and DEC are doing some lake tosses to sample in some other areas. So that's, I think, the general report. I'll have more for the Cayuga Lake Watershed Network, but to separate kind of the lake from the network. It's very important. If anyone has any questions. Oh, wait, I had one more thing. I was waiting for you to get back. Forgive me. Not to put you on the spot, but the TMDL for Cayuga Lake still remains on limbo, as far as I know. And I don't want to put you on the spot today, but I would very much appreciate as a member of WQMA if we could get an update on where that stands.
I can give you a general update. I can see if we can have a bigger, kind of a more broader, more focused discussion, but it still is in revision. We're still working through comments from the stakeholder groups and other agencies. The positive news with the TMDL is it being available in draft status, that in combination with the HABS action plan for Cayuga allows for the priority points as a completed clean water plan. So when folks in the Cayuga watershed, which Doug can attest, they can use those documents to reference for prioritized scoring for state grants. So that's as much of an update as I can give you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to try to put you on the spot today, but
No worries.
if you can prepare an update for next month, that would be great.
Sure, I'll make a note. I'll see if I can.
Because one of the problems with that, from someone who's been involved, not as, maybe as long as Michelle, not as long as Bruce, but water issues. This has been, the TMDL on Cayuga Lake has been one of the most difficult, frustrating processes. It's even in some respects more frustrating than the Alaska plan, because it seems it's always in review with no real benchmarks other than that first plan that came out for comment. So it'd be great to move that forward. What we can do to move it forward, if anything. So
sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I think the comments were provided 3 years ago, I do believe, right? 2021? Is that?
yes. Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
I think they started working on it in 2012.
Yeah,
Is my recall.
Well, the modeling was completed in the data collection for the modeling was 2013. The model was turned over to the DEC in 2017. So, but yep, I hear you. I can see what I can do next month.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, Cross Lake Seneca River, Carl, I don't see Carl. Duck Lake?
Nope.
Lake Como?
Okay, well, we already reported on the
Yeah, we're good on the sampling stuff.
Stony Brook. An update on our weed control. On May 31st, Solitude company came and did a weed sampling. They did an overlay of the lake on a map and did a grid and identified spots, and they did sample the weeds. So that I'm expecting probably within either June, end of June or first part of July, hope to have a final report from them that they're gonna start doing the application for the weed permit for wetlands. See how we make out with that. Hopefully we'll get some good news by the end of the summer. It's too late for us to do anything this year, but we can at least get the stuff in place so we can start our weed treatment next year. I've been contacted by Anna Bishop, who's a summer intern from DEC, connected with the CSLAP program. She's coming to our lake on June 19th. She's going to meet with me for about 3 hours. I guess they're going around a bunch of the lakes and watching the people that are doing the CSLAP testing for the lakes, make sure we're doing it right, and they're going to do the sampling along with us to just see how the results come out. We did have our annual spring meeting on May 25th. We had about 25 to 30 attendees and well attended. All our officers stayed the same, so I'm still president for another year. Our water level staying about the same. The beavers seem to be just kind of holding the top water where it is. I've got one living under a dock, the house next to me. I see him every night swimming in, going to bed at night. But so far, we haven't had any flooding issues. But I haven't seen any hams yet. The other day I thought I looked out, it was all yellow, so I think it's all the pines, the pine pollen. The lake was just completely yellow, so it's amazing. That's all I've got.
Okay, thanks, Pat. Little Sodas Bay?
Yep. We've already addressed our weed issue with Doug. We're, at this particular time of year, it's the worst we've ever seen. It's really, water's clear. Lake level right now, Rich and I kind of agreed that it's around 10 inches low. Real clear water. We, in terms of the Westbury Bar, we've been working on that, and there's fencing in there, trying to protect the edges. because of the new planning for erosion control. And there's concern about, because of there was nesting for eggs. I'm happy to report that our resident expert reported that the turtles were able to get through and that they have uncovered a bunch of nests, and that seems to have been solved. They just made some adjustments to the fence and that worked pretty well. Other than that, Rich, you have anything else to add?
Yeah, last month I reported that we had scheduled a community shoreline cleanup. We unfortunately had to cancel that because of weather. It was very windy and rainy that day. We have a Bay Betterment meeting tentatively scheduled for this Sunday. That probably will come up to see if we want to reschedule that event some other time this year. I also brought up last month about the concern brought to us about the rebar at West Barrier Bar. Doug and Michelle and others, thank you for the contact. I've passed that on. I haven't followed up on that again, but I went by my boat the other day and it's still there, so I haven't done anything about it at this point, but no one's been complaining about it again, so it's not high on my priority right now. I think that's about it. We've got a couple events scheduled. We've got some paddle poker events scheduled this year. They were very popular last year. We kind of looked last year at what can we do to get the community more involved. The paddle poker seemed like a good way to do it. It was very well received. So we tentatively had 3 events scheduled this summer. And the profits from that event, we sponsor local high school scholarships. 2 each year. We awarded 2 last year. And again, that was really well received by the community, that they're seeing us doing some positive things to the community, and we're trying to promote, those little things to get more people involved. So.
First one is on the 21st.
Yeah, that'll be there. He's gonna lead us off.
Close. Close. Okay, is that all? All set?
That's it.
Okay,
That's it.
thanks, guys. Skinny Atlas Lake.
Well, she usually goes first, so I don't want to get in front.
Well, I
Yeah.
figure Ann already spoke, so.
Oh,
maybe
I'm
you can
sorry,
go.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. All right, we had a pretty good attendance of people at the 9-element plan meeting at the lodge on May 21st. And that's for the Skinny Atlas Lake watershed, and encourage any comments when those are due later this month. Our boat stewards have started on the launches, of course, with the water and the fishing. This year, the fisher people started really early at the launches, and so we finally caught up and started with our boat stewards. We did host Amy Slentz and Prism on May 9th for in-person invasive species training, macrophyte surveying, and then we had approximately 7 or 8 Skinny Atlas residents on the online survey training this week. So we've gone from, according to New York Prism, 0 participation around the lake, exception what our own research boat does when we do the annual survey of the milfoil and other plant life on the lake. We've been doing that a long time, so we review it one year, we go out in the summer, and then it takes about 30 to 40 hours at least to do that survey. And so now we're going to do the volunteer surveying, and so we've gotten a lot of people signed up for that, so that's good. We are just reviewed this week a proposal from ESF to continue supporting a program for them with their lawn to meadow program, where they are doing, it's collaborative. We went in on it last year, and they've asked for a significant funding to match it up, where they are taking some erosion places where the people have clear-cut trees, and the erosion has been unfortunate on that, and so they're creating meadows in a number of spots around the lake, some in our county. So we are probably going to support that again, of course. We took the Boy Scouts on the Judge Ben Wiles last week. It was a very large group of Boy Scouts, it was a Boy Scout troop, but it's boys and girls, so it's all-inclusive, and that was really well received. And it was just to educate them on the lake and the things we can do and things to do to be more proactive with their families and aware and get the younger generation more involved in that. We just yesterday got our draft of our lake-friendly living. This came out yesterday and hasn't been printed yet, but this is going out to all 2,600 households in the watershed, a printed hard copy, kind of glossy, and it's kind of an abbreviated version of the old lake book that we used to put out years ago with what you can do around the lake and just things to be aware of. So that is good, and that's going out. And our annual meeting is June 30th at Lourdes Camp. Anyone can attend. Right now, we had one at the church last year, and then previously the COVID canceled our in-person meetings, and currently we've only got about 75 people signed up, but once they realize we're providing wine and beer, maybe the numbers will bump up a little. Anyone can come. So that's it. Thank you.
Sorry, I totally didn't even realize. I thought you wanted to go for Skinny
I just
Atlas
printed
Lake,
this
not that I
this
skipped Owasco Lake.
It's a draft.
So Owasco Lake.
Thanks.
The reason he's saying
This
that
summer,
is
something new
we would-
for all
that's
of
a
we
great
are
idea.
Like,
sharing the
we put
summer
in a-
intern.
This
And
is
this
the
is
draft.
with
I just
cooperative
printed it.
extension as well as soil
I'd like
water
to do something
conservation.
similar for
And
Bay
looking
friendly
at
living.
doing activities within the watershed, we have recently completed 2 gardens, one down at the State Park in Fillmore, or in Moravia at Fillmore Glen, as well as a wildflower pollinator garden at Fillmore Nature Preserve. That was a nice activity that we've done. HABs, looking for volunteers like most lakes are at this time, and we only have 3 zones left to fill. So we're doing excellent in getting the volunteers for that. HWA, I did mention about resistant hemlocks, and right now that's primarily all that our volunteers are doing. Surveying has been completed for this year. Last night we had our general membership meeting, and I am pleased to announce that I am now past president of and have a wonderful time in that position and look forward to 2 years as past president now. So
Who
I
is
will-
president now?
Carol Suckus.
Okay.
And I believe I will continue attending these meetings, and or maybe Phil Joy, because he's here. Yeah. Good. We do have another event coming up at the Owasco Yacht Club on the 26th of June, our business after 5. And I have to agree, when you offer beer and wine, and we're offering mead, samplings of mead, this is free and open for supporters of all to attend. We appreciate that. So other than that, it's just same old, same old. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add one thing I forgot?
Of course.
I mentioned last month that we were starting the hemlock treatment at Hooker Brook, which is in Cayuga County, comes down, cuts across Glenhaven Road. Quite a very, very steep ravine, and when we get those big rains, it dumps everything out into the lake down there. That's in the town of Niles. We've completed the hemlock treatment on over 800 trees in that ravine just in the last couple weeks.
That's great.
Thank you.
Is that what that bridge goes over? That concrete bridge at the bottom of that little hill at the windy section?
It winds and then it comes down, and then Ridings Drive is,
Yeah.
and then it comes out there.
It's a little scary.
Yeah.
So, I forgot
Yes.
something important.
Go ahead, Keith.
but we published the first, the network published the first HAPS newsletter last week and had weekly updates. Those are full of, if you've ever looked at it, if you haven't, you should. You can go to the website. But they're full of good information, work with CSI to report on HAPS, but also just general good information. We got another project, or a group, rather, a number of programs coming up, most of which, though, are in either Seneca or Tompkins counties. But for those of us who live down south of Auburn, not so long a drive. So anyone that might be interested in those, I'd give you details for you, go to the website.
Okay, thanks.
I'm sorry for that.
That's okay. I forgive you. Partner reports. I don't see anyone from regional planning. Aaron didn't provide anything. DEC Great Lakes program.
Hi. Yeah, I was able to get the teams to work. So we have an upcoming Great Lakes Education Exchange and Center for Great Lakes Literacy Educator Workshop in Fairhaven. It's going to be on August 16th, and I'm going to throw a link in the chat, and I'm happy to share the flyer. It's I'm going to get the title wrong, but it's Climate Change Impacts and Adaptations on New York's Great Lakes Shorelines. So we've got some various adaptation planning experts that are going to be presenting to educators, and we're going to be working through kind of lesson plans and activities that can be used in classrooms and programs. So if you know of any teachers or educators that would like to attend, we don't offer beer and wine, but we do offer a stipend. Yeah, so there's a bit of an incentive to participate, and great opportunity to connect with different experts, and spend a day at Fairhaven. Who doesn't want to spend a day at Fairhaven? It's very beautiful there. And I was there recently talking to kind of a group from Sodus Point that was interested in kind of applying what was done at Fairhaven to their beach too. So that was pretty interesting. Also made it out to the new Sterling Nature Center. If anybody hasn't checked that out, it is beautiful, and lots of really, really great sustainability and green elements were used in that design from what I can tell. I encourage folks to check it out, and yeah, other things. I think all that the CFA, the Consolidated Funding Application, is out. I don't know if you can hear it enough, right? But these applications are due by July 31st, and chances are, if there's something that you want to do, there's a grant for it. But DEC in particular offers several grants under CFA, including the non-ag, non-point source planning grant, which can help you plan and design projects or do studies to support project development. And then we have the water quality improvement project funding, which can be used to implement projects. And we also have climate smart communities. This is a program for developing a climate smart community plan and implementing actions. There's definitely some very surprising actions you can implement, like biking trails and complete streets and other activities that benefit communities and also promote climate change adaptation. So if you can take that back to your communities and encourage them to apply, we always we're really trying to get more communities to participate, and this year the CFA is getting some funding from the Environmental Bond Act. This is a $4 billion, voter approved funding to support projects. We're really, trying to advance actions in disadvantaged communities. so cities like Auburn would be a high priority. And then there's some fisheries meetings coming up July 17th at 7 p.m. in Mexico, New York, that might be of interest. That's going to be held at the VFW. There's a Great Lakes Water Resources meeting that's going to be held virtually and in person on June 13th. And there's a Let's Talk Lake Ontario webinar on June 12th that's going to be focusing on invasives around Lake Ontario. And then I'll also just mention we have a new kind of citizen science initiative for reporting shoreline observations for presence or absence of Cladophora to help us better understand the existing prevalence of Cladophora or absence, and how nutrients might be contributing. And Cladophora, if most you may be aware, it's kind of a filamentous algae. It's, it can be a nuisance and can harbor bacteria, but, can also provide habitat and food sources for fish and wildlife. And I'll throw the links for everything I talked about into the chat. And if anybody has any questions about any of it, feel free to reach out.
Thanks, Emily. All right, FLI Prism. Finger Lakes Water Hub.
Hello, everyone. I won't focus on the different grant programs that are available.
He's
All
off
the folks
now.
have touched on those.
That's why I
Emily
looked
just did a
over.
good job, but
Dropped off.
keep in mind of the various grant programs that are available and go after them, especially if you have a completed clean water plan. Use that plan to kind of get as many points as you can to go after the projects that you can to protect, maintain, or improve the water quality of your lake. The DEC's harmful algal bloom system, NIHABS, is now active for the season. We talked about that a little bit, so that'll be the best place to go to look for current reports, and they are archived throughout the season. There is an advance notice of proposed rulemaking that is open until November 4th. It provides folks with, sorry, let me zoom out someone else's notes, but it's input towards DEC's every 3-year review of water quality standards, and so that is available to the public to weigh in on how the DEC generates and implements its clean water standards. So November 4th, 2024, so lots of time on that. DEC's interim commissioner, Sean Mahar, has finalized the DEC's environmental permits policies for permitting in disadvantaged communities, which does impact some areas of Cayuga County. So check that out for more information there. Scrolling down through the 2023 CSLAP water quality results for all of New York State, but Owasco Lake, Cayuga Lake, et cetera. All the folks that are in the CSLAP program in Cayuga County, those 2023 reports are online now and available for people to look at and review, as are historical water quality results. So if you're interested in what the phosphorus levels were, or chlorophyll levels, or clarity levels, or whatever is accessed or generated through the CSLAP program, you can find it there for your lake. So there's it's reformatted a little bit, it'll look a little different, but all the tabs are essentially the same and should be able to access all of the raw data from the CSLAP program at that website now as well. So some pretty nice upgrades there. Finger Lakes watershed staff are busy in the field a bunch this year. We are doing some monitoring in the 11 Finger Lakes to supplement our CSLAP volunteers efforts. We are collecting programs that our professional DEC lake classification inventory program does. So adding some parameters like oxygen, pH, specific conductivity, temperature, and then some chemical parameters that the statewide program does in addition to CSLAP as well. So those data will not be available in real time. I'll let you know, but usually it's collect for the season. They get processed through the quality assurance protocols at the Albany office, and then they're available the next spring. So I'll keep you posted, but we'll be out and about. And thank you to the resident on the east side of Owasco that let us have access Monday. It saved us hours of transit from Emerson down to Emerson. Yeah, and we're trying to use our electric boat too for all the sites, which is really nice. It's working out really well. It's just it's not that big and it's kind of slow compared to the gas powered. So if you see us out, that's what we're doing. That's it for me.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks for making that today, Tony. Thanks for coming to the
Oh,
meeting.
Yeah. All right, Adam,
Sure.
what's going on?
I do apologize for being late today. It's Wednesday and
Unacceptable. Now you have to be chair.
Oh, great. I know this would happen.
Can he even be
Folks are
chair?
gone, you assign them with tasks. I know what
No?
it's like.
Darn, you can't even be chair, damn it.
Yeah, I'm not technically a member, just a partner, but I am remiss to miss Michelle's presentation this morning. So, the reason I was late though was for a prospective lead watershed inspector staff interview. So we are looking to fill our vacant watershed inspector position. So we're still in recruitment mode. I know some of you are helping with soliciting for that help with our job posting. Otherwise, it's listed on Indeed. So if anyone has questions about that or has any individuals that they think would be interested in the position, please let me know. Also, there are no new updates concerning the Owasco Lake Watershed Rules and Regulations update project that's currently under state review through their State Administrative Procedures Act process. There'll be a public comment period later this summer regarding that project, so I'll keep folks posted on that. Also, Anne referred to our May Lake Friendly Living event, collaborative Lake Friendly Living event between ALWA and the Management Council that was hosted at the Council's 160-acre Fillmore Nature Preserve. And I want to give thanks to some of the folks in the space this morning, today's meeting. First of all, to Supervisor Charlie Ripley from Summerhill, who, on behalf of his town, donated support for the overall project in kind for the creation of the public access lot there at the preserve. And then also to both Anne and then also Dr. Joya, who was an incredible help and really played the lead role in staging the materials on the site for the pollinator garden project. So that was a fun Saturday event, have volunteers come out and work together to sow that garden. Right, so as far as that project goes, up and coming will be the construction of the educational kiosk on site. I think some of you know that there's a pretty robust trails network that already exists at the preserve if you want to go check it out. But we will also be providing an educational kiosk for visitors. Working with our officials, we've orchestrated the New York State commemorative resolution for Lake Friendly Living across the Finger Lakes on behalf of the Lake Friendly Living Coalition, so many of the various watershed stewards across the region. And that resolution is expected to be presented at an upcoming Finger Lakes Regional Watershed Alliance Forum at Ventosa Vineyards. That's on June 14th, on a Friday. Just for an update on the Council's nearly $500,000 National Fish and Wildlife Foundation grant, a federal grant for stream restoration activities along the Owasco Inlet. The project is rolling out smoothly with the leadership of our project partners, Cayuga County Soil and Water Conservation District, with Kim Schneider there playing a lead role for the project. He's been out there recently and earlier this week with doing site inventories along the Owasco Inlet, and then relaying that information to an engineering firm out of Syracuse, Engineering, that will be working on the engineering design for the project. Great, and then and also we have our 9-element coordination committee. Some of you are involved in that committee that's charged with rolling out implementation associated with our now approved 9E watershed plan for phosphorus reduction, our clean water plan. That we understand is a pathway to funding through grants and such. We'll be looking at the various grant opportunities that are made available through New York State currently for potential submittals this summer. We also will remain focused on a pathway to funding a proposed watershed-specific ag program called the Owasco Lake Watershed Ag Program. This was a program proposal where we were successful in support through the One House, through the Senate at $500,000 to get the program up and running, but it did not make it into the overall New York State budget. So we'll be looking at ways to find alternate pathways to fund that proposed program. That's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks so much, Adam.
Sure.
Unless anyone has something for Partners for Healthy Watersheds or the Nature Conservancy, I think we're all set. Motion?
It did.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Bruce Natalie, actually, I think, an original WQMA member in the early 90s. Just wanted to note the passing of Bill Cato. He was our public health director.
Thank you so much.
And with Bob Brower and Jim Hotelling and Bill, they were really the key to getting this group created and sort of set in motion to coordinate the activities between all the agencies that have some little part in water quality throughout the county. So Bill passed in May, but he was the public health director for quite a long time.
Yeah, I met him a handful
And he had
of
also
times.
been in the city of Auburn, city engineer before that. So he had a great understanding of the water quality needs of the lake and did a lot over his career to move things forward.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bruce. I'm upset I forgot about that, but yes, he passed on May 24th. So, yeah, I know I met him a handful of times, always such a nice guy, and was always a huge proponent of the water quality. So thanks for bringing that up. And then Emily, you had something else to add?
Yeah, just for the Nature Conservancy, I saw they have a survey related to the reforestation that I thought might be of interest, and I put it in the chat.
Oh, great. Okay, thanks. We'll get that into the minutes. Thank you. All right.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
Are you gonna do this summer, like we did last summer, visiting some of the other lakes for our meetings? Have you talked about that at all?
It's come up a little bit. Maybe we can do something at the Sterling Nature Center.
I think we're set to do something in the fall when the weather's cooler.
Yeah. And then we are not going to have an August meeting, correct?
That was up to you guys.
You're going to be out of town.
I'll be on vacation.
And I may be out of town that week as well. Does anyone object to not having an August meeting? Taking a month off? Schedule your vacations so you don't have to miss a WQMA meeting.
What about the July meeting? That's
The July meeting.
It's July 11th.
We had passed last month, I think, to make it July 11th, right?
We just, we want to
Or
make
it's just rescheduled for July
Yeah.
11th, the following Thursday. Is that okay?
I've got the room reserved already. We have, we're gonna have a presentation. Remember we passed a resolution
Yes.
for scientists to do PFA research and they were gonna come and talk about it
Yeah, the letter of support
that we did a few months ago.
that prompted the deadlines for submitting letters of support. Yeah, they're gonna come and present on their findings.
I think they're looking for locations where they should be sampling for PFAs, so.
I'm also not going to be here at that July meeting, so.
Do you know who's going to be presenting on PFAS?
Oh, hold on. Yeah, I didn't pull it up. Not really.
That's unfortunate.
Brune Bakasava and Laura Aki.
Where are they from?
Cornell.
Cornell.
They're the Finger Lakes PFAS research team. And we passed a resolution for the Finger Lakes PFAS project, targeted water sampling to identify sources of per and polyfluoroalkyl substances in the Finger Lakes. And they want to present findings to our organization and receive feedback and suggestions on specific locations. We might like to sample from 10 to 15 samples from locations suggested by your organization. I'll be sending that out.
Okay.
I just got it Wednesday, so I haven't had a chance to do much with it.
Okay, I won't be here next month.
Okay.
I already have stuff for the first, second, and third Thursdays of the month scheduled, so,
Okay.
I'll send Christina for the presentation, then I'll ask Seth to run the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, motion,
So,
yes.
I have a question about the form. I know sometimes there isn't a form. That's
Yeah.
just the nature of.
Well, I'll send Christina as my designee, so she can still be a voting member.
Because that was kind of my question, because I just heard people say, well, I can't be with you, other people.
Well, all of us have designees, so.
So we're okay.
Nobody wants to do minutes and run the meeting. And oh, I mean,
For you.
and pretty soon we're gonna have to vote on video conferencing again because that expired.
Okay,
It expires in July.
okay, sounds
So
good.
based upon that, I move we adjourn.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Suzanne.
Can we get a second on the adjournment? Okay, thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, no opposition here.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Right on time.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle.
Sorry for skipping Alaska Lakes. You know, maybe one of